Well, Jill did an excellent introduction. I appreciate that. And what I will be talking about today is the cloud. I remember 5 or 6 years ago, Jill had me talk about the cloud, and it was really about people that wanted to know what it was. Today, the cloud has become so much a part of our daily lives that we kind of think of it like electricity or water. It's almost a utility. It's always there, it's always on. Anything that you rely on that much, you have to make sure that you take some basic precautions. And those precautions can be something as simple as making sure you read the fine print. But let me back up for a second. I'm going to define the cloud in one of two ways. The IT guy way, which is it's just other people's computers. And ultimately that's what the cloud is. There's nothing mystical about it. Probably the better answer, and that has more impact on your life and mine, is the cloud is services operated by another company, on equipment operated by another company, on an infrastructure operated by another company, and almost all of that is completely unregulated. So caveat emptor, buyer beware. The first thing that you want to change about your behavior with your business, if nowhere else, is you want to make sure that you stop clicking I accept without reading it. I know it's boring and it's mind-numbing, and it's kind of like when I bought my house. They had this stack of papers and I was reading them and everybody was looking at me like I was touched in the head. And I finally said, so if I don't sign any of this, I don't get the house, right? And they went, that's right. And so it was, okay, blind sign, just do it. I shouldn't have done that. Now, it didn't hurt me and I wasn't getting the house. But I can have that power when I'm making a choice over a new accounting package. Let's say, for example, you didn't click anything. You just clicked and you didn't read. And you tried this accounting package for about 6 months. And it was okay, but it wasn't really what you needed. So you decide to leave. What you find out, and this was in the fine print that you didn't read, is that unless you use the servers for a full year, they don't provide you a copy of your information when you leave. Really nothing you can do about that. But you could have stopped it from happening in the first place by reading the fine print. And nobody needs to be out 6 months of accounting data, right? So, as we talk about the cloud, and we said other people's computers, right, Dave? My computers are awesome, and I have some that are terrible. So that cloud service that you have may be on a computer with multiple redundancies, multiple connections to the internet, multiple real-time copies of your data, or it could be on one computer with one internet connection in the back of a sweatshop out of Kuala Lumpur, and you would not know unless you do your homework. Just like you're not going to make a big investment in something without doing some research, just because it's easy doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work. So basically, you want to make sure that you do your homework. Yeah, we covered that. This was really long when I wrote it, but it's not. The other thing that you want to keep track of, and I kind of mentioned it when I touched on Kuala Lumpur, is really two things. Where in the world is your data? And I don't mean like a Carmen Sandiego satirical thing. I mean physically, where is your data? Is it on servers in Texas? Is it on servers in Herndon, Virginia? Is it on servers in India? I'll give you an example. For me, my accounting package, which looks like 4th of July, Independence Day, red, white, and blue, fried chicken, watermelon, awesome, awesome America. The company that runs it and owns it is in New Delhi. The tech support is in New Delhi. The data is in 4 or 5 different servers ran by Amazon, all in the United States. As you guys know, there are hurricanes and typhoons in that part of the world. I got an email about 1.5 years ago when they had a particularly bad one from the president of that company telling me that everything was cool, tech support would continue to go on, but that he invited everyone that works for his company to bring their families into the building because their homes had basically been washed away or were unlivable. That's something that happened thousands of miles away, and I probably wouldn't have even crossed my radar. Find out where your companies that are holding your data and keeping your company running are in a very real geographical sense. The other part of that little geography tie-in is where is that company registered? Where is their Where's their court of arbitration? I seriously doubt or hope that no one here is going to have to sue anybody. But if you do, if you have to seek recourse, you really kind of want to know if the fine print said that our court of arbitration is in Berlin because we're a German company that happens to operate around the world. So you have a problem. You'd spend a bunch of money. They didn't deliver. Whatever it is, are you ready to get on a plane and go argue in a German court? Probably not. Maybe you are. If you are, auf Wiedersehen. But read the fine print because those are all things that you can make an informed decision about. But if you don't read it, you can't make an informed decision. I know it sounds really boring and dry, but it's very true. The second part of my topic covers some of the fundamental things that you should be doing after you've decided, hey, I'm going to read the fine print. This is how I want to move forward. And the very first thing I need to do is bust a myth. I know that sounds corny, but one of the things that I keep getting feedback on from people when I sign them up for cloud services is, one of the things I really love about the cloud, Lawrence? No, tell me. All my stuff is backed up. And then I watch their face crash and I go, no, it's not. I know what you bought. Your stuff's not backed up at all. That's more true than you know. Most of those services, and I talked about those computers, that there's multiple computers with multiple copies of your data in real time all around the world. That's your current data. Okay? It's not necessarily a backup. Let's say that you go in on a Thursday because you want to take off early and you post a bunch of transactions or you record a bunch of sales visits. And you were in a hurry because this is a 3-day weekend. You come in on Monday, you open it up and you go, oh, crap. I shouldn't have done that. And then you go to start looking for, okay, I need to undo those postings. I can't. So probably the first thing you do, if it's a big enough deal, is you Irish up your coffee, right? Then you pick up the phone and you say, help me. And you can call me. I'll probably help you. Maybe not. And that's the thing, is I can fix anything. I've been doing IT and networking since the last century. I've been in business. I can fix anything. I can replace it if I can't fix it. There's one thing I can't replace, one thing I can't repair, and that is your data. No one on this earth has wanted a time machine more than an IT guy after a data failure. You have no idea. I started bargaining with God on several different occasions over my career. If this would be, because I tell my staff, the only unforgivable sin is data loss, and if we're responsible for it. If we tell these people, hey, we got your backups in place, we got this, we got that, and then that bad thing happens, because it will, and we don't have it, at that point, I should just be fired. I expect to be fired. Oh, you lost my stuff and you were responsible for it? Cool, you're fired. And I'll probably sue you. That's how big of a deal your data is. It can crush a small business to lose all of their transaction history. That's, oh man. You almost want the house to burn down instead. Not that, anyway. Yeah, that's my insurance guy. I didn't really mean it like that. Okay. Yeah, dude.
So when you say cloud, I know that there's different types of cloud where it's like Dropbox and Google Drive versus technically QuickBooks Online is considered cloud as well too. So when you're saying cloud, you're talking about like data.
All of it. I'm talking about everything that Dave just mentioned. QuickBooks Online, Google Drive, all of those things. And what all of those things have in common is what's called an exit barrier, which ties right into making sure your stuff is backed up. And this goes back to finding out what those services can offer. An exit barrier, simply put, is how hard is it to leave with your information and use it somewhere else. So Google Drive, Dropbox, those things have a very low exit barrier because it's not terribly complex. And I've had some people, because we sell Google apps for work, that have said, I don't want to use Google because I have to put everything in the Google. And I usually just kind of roll my eyes on the inside when somebody says that. But the truth of it is, with Dropbox, with Google, and with most good quality services, you can use your own data formats. I have people that, with a couple of hundred employees, they use Google Drive and they still use Microsoft Office file formats. Now that hurts them a little bit, but it does mean that if they do decide to leave, they can just save their files and they can move on. And it's a low exit barrier. Now, if you have an accounting package, QuickBooks Online, and you decide that you want to go, well, the exit barrier is high. Simply because it's not something you can print out and say, this is a list of our customers. It's transactional. So when I looked at my accounting package and I went, okay, how do I get a copy of this stuff on a regular basis to make my backups? I could. The package that I picked right before that, I couldn't. I could email them a request and then they would send me a copy. That's no good as part of a regular backup routine. So those again are things that I can find out by reading the fine print, the terms of service, asking as many questions as I feel I need to until I'm comfortable giving these people money on a monthly basis for a key part of my business. When you make your backups, the oldest rule the second oldest rule, I can't tell you the first one. The second oldest rule in IT is something that Davis Mary mentioned when he was up here and he talked, and it's 3, 2, 1. I just did that backwards. So 3, 2, 1. Jill took a breath in. Which number of fingers are you going to use? No, I'm just kidding. You need to have 3 copies of your data. You need to have the live copy. You need to have 2 backups, and they need to be on different formats. Now, the thing you have to flip around in your head is that the copy that you might have is actually the off-site copy, because your data lives on a server, or preferably multiple servers around the country. How we do that? It can be difficult, because depending on how many gray hairs you have, you either backed up your stuff to a floppy, and that's the first thing that you did, or a flash drive, or a CD-ROM, and now you have this accounting package that works on your phone, and your Mac, and your PC, and your tablet, and where the hell do you get your data off of? Those are questions that, as a responsible small business owner, you want to look into before the fact and not after. That pretty much, I think, covers everything that I had. I don't really have time to get into the artificial intelligence overlords and how internet marketing companies are making bank off of all of us and we're not getting anything.